Chapter 41 Neighbors Who Can Only Shout Slogans. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As soon as the new group formed, the owners and tenants were buzzing with fear. Chen Zhanghao is a straight-up monster. He's already hit 3 houses, breaking into all of them. Those 2 young folks in 301, they tried to fight back, and he just shot them dead. 302 and 401 were so scared, they handed over all their food and drinks without a peep. Man, if you're out of food and drinks in times like these, you're basically signing your own death warrant. Someone spoke up, full of anger, "We gotta band together and take down this bully, Chen Zhanghao." Someone else immediately chimed in. "Yeah, there's way more of us than there are of him and his 5 or 6 goons. If we stick together, we can take him." Then someone else brought up a harsh reality, "But he's got a gun." So what if he has a gun? How much ammo can he possibly have? Exactly. If we rush him, he can't stop all of us. I'll give him a left kick, then a right roundhouse, and he'll be eating dirt. He's washed up anyway. Without his gun, I could take him myself. Everyone got fired up at the thought of taking down Chen Zhanghao, practically itching to storm his place and end him, but then, someone asked. "So, when do we do this?" That question brought a quick silence. Talking tough is easy, but actually risking your neck. That's another story. Everyone knew the truth. Nobody wanted to be the first one through the door, taking a bullet for everyone else. All that tough talk was just to trick someone else into being a human shield. Alright, we'll definitely get this guy. But, let's be real, he's a desperate dude with a few thugs backing him up. We gotta have a plan. Yeah, acting reckless is for fools. We gotta use our brains. Zhang Yi just rolled his eyes. 1 minute they're saying Chen Zhanghao's nothing, talking about left kicks and right kicks to the face. Now that it's time to actually step up, suddenly it's all about being smart. "Give me a break." Just then, Uncle Yu, the building security guard, sent a message. "We can't let Chen Zhanghao keep doing this. If we do, he'll kill us all. Even if he doesn't shoot us, if he robs us of our food and water, we're still dead. I'm ready to lead the charge. Who's with me to teach these punks a lesson?" Uncle Yu wasn't a big talker, he was a vet, straightforward and full of grit. Everyone in the building respected him. Seeing Chen Zhanghao acting like a heartless animal, he was furious. "Alright, Uncle Yu. You're a real hero, just like a soldier should be. We're with you, Uncle Yu. Need weapons? You can borrow our kitchen knife. I got a decorative sword I bought last year. You can have it. Chen Zhanghao's a cripple now, Uncle Yu. Sneak up on him from behind, don't give him a chance." Everyone was praising Uncle Yu, throwing out suggestions left and right, but nobody actually volunteered to go with him. Uncle Yu was losing patience. Chen Zhanghao has 5 or 6 guys with him, and they're armed. I can't go in there alone. I need at least a dozen young guys to come with me, just to be safe. I've had military training, so I can lead the charge. Suddenly, all the apartments with adult men went silent, and the women who didn't have adult men in their apartments started acting like they'd just been injected with adrenaline. That's right, we women are too weak to handle thugs like this. All you men in building 25, now's your chance to be heroes. The men in our building are all strong and brave, I just know you can do it. Time to show your chivalry. We're counting on you to protect us helpless women. Of course, the adult men weren't thrilled. Some of them were single, living alone or with roommates. They weren't necessarily against risking their lives to stop the bad guys, but with these women acting like it was their duty to run into gunfire. No way. Hold on. You always demand equality, but now you expect us to go first when things get dangerous. How does that make any sense? Okay, you want equality? Then everyone goes together. You're always so tough online. If you're so brave, go fight Chen Zhanghao yourself. It's not that I won't risk my life, but I'll only risk it for my own wife and kids. When the women saw that the men weren't going to charge in, their smiles vanished and the insults started flying. Are you even men? This is exactly what men are supposed to do. Asking women to risk their lives. You should be ashamed. You guys are pathetic. It's disgusting. I would never marry someone like you. That the whole point of starting this group was to figure out how to deal with Chen Zhanghao, but somehow, it had turned into a screaming match about who should confront him, and then devolved into a full-blown gender war. Zhang Yi couldn't believe it. It was playing out exactly like it had in his previous life. No wonder Chen Zhanghao managed to kill half the building and then keep the rest in line with a gun. When they were dying, they just closed their eyes. And didn't even fight back. Seeing what was happening, Uncle Yu desperately tried to calm things down. Everyone, stop arguing. Chen Zhanghao is the real problem here. There was a woman living on the 7th floor, named Lu Tian. She was a recent college grad who was leading the charge in the male-female conflict. By this point, everyone in the group was furious. Whenever a man spoke, Lu Tian would jump down his throat. Even when kind-hearted Uncle Yu tried to intervene, she was quick to respond. Uncle Yu, why are you pretending to be a nice guy? You're a soldier, you know how to fight, so you should be the first one to charge in. There are so many men in our building. If we trade one for them, everyone else will be safe. In today's society, we women are clearly more valuable, and the only purpose of you men is to serve us. I hope all you pathetic men in this group remember that, because I'm not saying it again. Chapter 42 Reserve Grain. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lu Tiantian's little speech got roasted by a bunch of guys right then and there. The world's gone to hell. Nobody cares about your precious feelings anymore. Heh, who do you think you are, anyway? We're supposed to risk our lives to protect you. You think you deserve that? Uncle Yu just clammed up, totally speechless after that. He couldn't wrap his head around it. He was just trying to help everyone out, but why was everyone acting like such jerks? He wasn't much of a talker anyway, and he definitely wasn't any good at arguing, so he just shut his mouth. Zhang Yi scrolled through the group chat, finding it pretty entertaining. Gotta get your kick somehow, right? Basically, he came to one conclusion: most of these people deserved whatever was coming to them. The online brawl was getting wilder and wilder. It was like everyone had been holding it in for too long and finally found a way to vent, just letting it all out. The chat was flooded with nasty, filthy language. It was brutal. They'd completely forgotten why they'd even started the group in the first place. Zhang Yi tossed his phone aside and went into the kitchen. He had plenty of ready-made food in his personal space, but sometimes he liked to cook something himself, just for the fun of it. He pulled out some fresh ingredients from his space: potatoes, onions, garlic, all looked like they'd just been dug up from the garden. The beef brisket was nice and tender, the bright red color making his mouth water. You gotta give it to Walmart, best supermarket chain in the world. The quality of their ingredients really are undeniable. Zhang Yi started a pot of stewed beef brisket with potatoes. Then added some pancakes around the edge of the pot like chicken and dumplings. That way, the pancakes would soak up all the gravy and get super tasty. Grabbing his phone, he saw that Fang Yuqing and Lin Caning had sent him another message. This time, they were practically begging. Fang Yuqing and Lin Caning were clearly freaked out by Chen Zhanghao's murder. Those two green tea and white lotus flowers couldn't fight their way out of a paper bag. They were afraid of becoming Chen Zhanghao's next targets, especially after seeing Zhang Yi's reinforced door. They figured his place was a safe haven and wanted to move in. Zhang Yi, forget all the fights we've had. You used to care about me, didn't you? You can't just let me die, can you? I know you act tough, but you've got a good heart. Please, help me. Lin Caning was just as shameless as Fang Yuqing. Zhang Yi, I don't want to die. Just let me stay at your place, and I'll be your anything. You can do whatever you want to me, just don't let those guys get me. Zhang Yi could feel the fear in their messages. Honestly, if he hadn't reinforced his house and was stuck in some cold, empty apartment with no food, he'd be just as desperate. But did he feel sorry for these two? Hell no. He was loving every minute of it. The more desperate they were, the more excited Zhang Yi got. He didn't reply, but instead took a video for them to see. The video showed a big pot of beef brisket and potatoes stewing away, and a fireplace blazing in the background. The warm, peaceful vibe inside was a stark contrast to the blizzard and howling wind outside. That was like a punch in the gut to those two. They couldn't even get enough to eat, let alone be sure they'd survive the night. They kept begging and pleading, asking Zhang Yi to let them come inside. Zhang Yi just ignored them, didn't say yes, didn't say no. He wanted to leave them a sliver of hope, so they'd keep crawling back to him, even knowing it was probably useless. The day dragged on. After Chen Zhenghao and his crew had grabbed their fill of supplies, they weren't in any hurry to go back out. They knew if they pushed things too far, everyone would gang up on them. Divide and conquer, that was the name of the game. But that night, Zhang Yi noticed something weird going on with Chen Zhenghao's crew on his surveillance cameras. The whole city was blacked out except for Zhang Yi's place, but nobody in his building seemed to notice. Zhang Yi saw Chen Zhenghao's goons carrying 2 bodies out the door. He took a closer look and thought the 2 looked familiar. He knew most of the people in his building. But these 2 definitely weren't from around here. They had to be some of the guys Chen Zhenghao had called in when the snow first started falling. After thinking about it for a minute, Zhang Yi figured it out. When Chen Zhenghao had tried to storm Zhang Yi's place, Zhang Yi had hosed them down with freezing water. In this kind of sub-zero weather, that was a death sentence. Those 2 must have frozen to death. A cold or fever caused by the low temperatures isn't so surprising, especially if you're without a comfortable home and drugs like ibuprofen. Why else was life expectancy so short in ancient times? They'd stripped the bodies bare and dumped them in the stairwell. Zhang Yi frowned, not sure what they were up to. If they just wanted to get rid of the corpses, they could have tossed them out the window, and the snow would have covered everything. Why leave them in the stairwell? Then it hit him like a ton of bricks, and his eyes went wide. Chen Zhenghao left those bodies there. Were they saving them for food? The thought made Zhang Yi's skin crawl, but it made a grim kind of sense. It was cold enough to freeze the balls off a brass monkey, so the bodies wouldn't rot. Most people's idea of the apocalypse came from movies, and cannibalism was a pretty common theme in those movies. Throughout human history, during times of famine, there were stories of people trading children to eat, or even eating human meat. Years of peace had made people forget the dark chapters of history until the end came. Zhang Yi took a deep breath, calming his racing heart. Compared to most people, he was able to face reality a lot faster. He'd already lived through the end of the world once, and had even been eaten as food. He knew that when things got bad enough, people would do anything to survive. Chen Zhenghao, you cold bastard. That even though Zhang Yi didn't like the guy, he couldn't help but be impressed. A lot of people knew how things would probably turn out, but to actually start stockpiling bodies for food before you ran out of other options, that was just brutal. Chapter 43. The Little Fairy is in a Hurry. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Chen Zhenghao murdered the residents of apartment 301, the entire building was on edge. The residents' group chat, once bustling, went silent. Chen Zhenghao seemed to realize that everyone had secretly formed a new group behind his back, but he couldn't stop it. All he could do was try to threaten and cajole people in the main group. Times are tough, everyone's just trying to survive, and nobody wants to kill, he posted. If that kid in 301 hadn't jumped my guy first, I wouldn't have accidentally killed him. I'm not a monster. I hope we can all live in peace going forward, and lend each other some food when needed. Cooperate, and I guarantee everyone will be safe. Some people seemed to relax a little, some even started to think that maybe Chen Zhenghao was right, maybe the guy in 301 had started it. Classic Stockholm Syndrome. In the face of death, any small kindness from the aggressor feels like a gift. Zhang Yi remained a detached observer, watching it all unfold without comment or involvement, but he was definitely a little more wary of Chen Zhenghao. His apartment was well stocked, and Chen Zhenghao and his cheap gun probably couldn't break in. Still, in the apocalypse, you can't be too careful. If he really messes with me, I'll find a way to take him out, Zhang Yi muttered. The uneasy peace was shattered the next day. Everyone was terrified of Chen Zhenghao, but they still needed to get water. Someone quietly opened their door, hoping to scoop up some snow unnoticed, but Chen Zhenghao's goons caught them. They'd already devoured all the supplies they stole the first day. Now they were desperate, seeing the entire building's residents as prey. Anyone caught was fair game. In the new group chat, someone sent out an SOS. Zhang Yi opened the app and saw it was Lu Tian, who lived on the 7th floor. Chen Zhenghao lived on the 6th, right below her. She tried to sneak out early to get snow for water, but they'd nabbed her. She lived alone, which made her an easy target. Plus, it had been almost 2 weeks since the lockdown, and Chen Zhenghao and his crew were getting restless. They were looking for a woman to blow off some steam. Lu Tiantian wasn't exactly a beauty queen, but she was young and had a decent figure. With options limited, they weren't picky, so the thugs grabbed wrenches and iron bars and headed upstairs. Grinning, Lu Tiantian slammed the door shut, and in desperation, she turned to her neighbors for help. "Help me, please. They're smashing my door. They're going to kill me," she wailed. "At you to shoe, please help. You're a veteran, right? You can take them. They're monsters, they're so cruel. We have to stick together. If something happens to me, you're next." Lu Tiantian's frantic messages flooded the group, but this was the same Lu Tiantian who had been a loudmouth the day before, angering a bunch of business owners. Uncle Yu replied, "Girl, what's going on? I can't take on that many guys by myself." Uncle Yu was a good man, but he wasn't suicidal. Chen Zhenghao had 5 or 6 guys and a gun. Even a trained soldier couldn't win that fight. If everyone had agreed to form a neighborhood watch, they might have been able to scare them off. Lu Tiantian's heart sank when she saw Uncle Yu's message. She cried, "You can't do this. You're going to leave a woman to die. What kind of men are you?" Wah! At first, people felt a little sympathy, but when she started guilt-tripping everyone, they got mad. Combined with the insults she had hurled the previous day, everyone was ready to settle the score. "Oh yeah, we're all useless. You're so strong, little fairy, you don't need our help." Ha! The little fairy can kick their butts. Go get them. Weren't you running your mouth yesterday? I thought you were so tough. Now you're begging us nobodies to save you. Good riddance. One less mouth to feed. The group chat filled with gleeful comments. Nobody felt bad for Lu Tiantian. They were practically celebrating. If Lu Tiantian got robbed, at least they'd be safe for a little while longer. Seeing the cold-hearted reactions, Lu Tiantian despaired. She turned to the women in the group for help, but the responses were just as useless. "We're all sisters here, but there's nothing we can do. Hang in there, girl. We're here for you in spirit. Try to hold them off. If they break in, they might do something to you. Yeah, there's so many of them, they'll have their way with you." Some people offered empty words of comfort, while others were just trying to scare her out of spite. After all, everyone was isolated and terrified. The threat of death had twisted people's hearts. More and more people joined the group, but the conversation took a dark turn. "Ha! I say you take one of them down with you, sis. Do us all a favor." "Yeah. Your place is getting trashed anyway, so you're probably not going to make it. Might as well take someone with you." Lu Tiantian trembled with rage. She was about to reply when the door burst open with a crash. Back in his apartment, Zhang Yi watched on his security monitor as Lu Tiantian screamed and was dragged out by her feet. "It's freezing out there. Hope they dressed warm. And those hormones are raging." Zhang Yi sighed, but it made sense. Nobody knew when they were going to die, and before they die, the first thing any creature thinks about is passing on its genes. Zhang Yi took a bite of a chocolate bar and said to the screen, "At this temperature, any exposed skin is life-threatening." Chapter 44. Why do you ask me to give alms? You are listening at novelfull.audio. What happened to Lu Tiantian? Everyone could guess, even if they didn't see it. What else could happen to a girl thrown to the wolves? Even if Chen Zhenghao and his crew spared her life, she was doomed without any resources. But instead of grief, a collective sigh of relief swept through the group. At least Lu Tiantian would keep Chen Zhenghao's crew fed for a little while. Still, it was a wake-up call for everyone else. At this rate, how long could any of them survive? That afternoon, Zhang Yi found himself dragged into yet another chat group. He couldn't help but chuckle. The environment was so unstable, everyone was getting paranoid and forming more and more cliques, like somehow huddling together made them stronger. Zhang Yi scanned the group members. Only 6 or 7 people, Zhou Peng, Fang Yuqing, and Lin Caning were all there. along with a few other neighbors. Zhang Yi frowned, wondering what they were up to. Soon enough, someone reached out, Fang Yuqing, at Zhang Yi, "It's getting way too dangerous out there. Chen Zhenghao and his guys are gonna come for us sooner or later. We gotta stick together." Zhang Yi replied coolly, "I'm doing just fine on my own, thanks. Lin Caning, that's not the point. You're just one guy. Chen Zhenghao has 5 or 6 people and a gun. You're not safe at all." Zhang Yi almost smirked. Why didn't they ask Chen Zhenghao, the guy with the broken leg? Chen Zhenghao hadn't dared to get revenge yet because he knew Zhang Yi was a tough customer. Zhang Yi asked, "So, what do you want?" Fang Yuqing jumped in, "It's too risky for everyone to be living separately. We've decided to move in together. That way, we'll have a fighting chance against Chen Zhenghao." Zhang Yi laughed. "So, you think a crowd is gonna stop a gun? Ridiculous. If numbers mattered, the whole building had about 100 families, enough people to stomp Chen Zhenghao to death. But everyone was a coward, and getting together was just for comfort," another group member spoke up. It was Sun Jichao, a white-collar finance guy, as Zhang Yi recalled. "More people is a deterrent. Plus, we can barricade the entrance, make it harder to break in. What we need is a good stronghold." Fang Yuqing quickly added, "Zhang Yi, your place has a balcony and a super strong security door. Perfect for holding off Chen Zhenghao. So, we're hoping you'll join our team and fight Chen Zhenghao with us." Now Zhang Yi understood, Fang Yuqing must have told them all about his place. They probably knew about his insulation and food supply. Zhang Yi sneered, they might as well have used a megaphone, their angle was so obvious. Zhang Yi said bluntly, "No thanks. I'm doing great on my own. If you want to live together, find your own place." Are they kidding? 7 or 8 people crammed into his apartment. Who knew who he could trust? That's just inviting trouble. Besides, Zhang Yi didn't owe them a thing. No way. They were clearly unhappy with Zhang Yi's rejection. Sun Jichao, Zhang Yi, we're all in danger here. You can't be so selfish. We can only survive together. Another member, Wang Min, chimed in, "We picked your place because of the balcony. It's easy to get snow for water. You think we're taking advantage, but we'd be protecting you." Zhang Yi grinned, he typed, "Protecting me?" The question marks dripped with sarcasm. Did they even have a clue what kind of life he was living? Protecting him? Seriously? Fang Yuqing, hiding under her blanket, pursed her lips and launched her attack. She knew Zhang Yi hated her and wouldn't let her in, so now she was trying to guilt-trip him, using everyone else. She figured human lives were at stake. Even if she, Lin Caning, Zhou Peng, and the others had treated him badly, Zhang Yi should be the bigger person. Lin Caning, "Okay, Zhang Yi, I admit we need your help. But think about it, you could save 7 or 8 lives by letting us in. Can you stand by and watch Chen Zhenghao kill us? We've been friends and neighbors for years." Zhang Yi did know all 7 or 8 of them. A few were even former colleagues he'd gotten along with. They took turns begging him to let them in, appealing to their past friendship. But the Zhang Yi who'd been pushed to his death in his previous life was long gone. What humanity were they talking about in the apocalypse? The only way to survive was on your own. So he said, "These are the end times. Whether you live or die is up to you. You're no use to me, so why would I protect you?" Then, Zhang Yi left the group, sucking him dry. Dream on. As long as he didn't play by their rules, they couldn't manipulate him. After the chat, Zhang Yi grabbed a bag of chips from his dimension. He settled into his soft, imported recliner by the window, enjoying the view while he munched. Forget everything else. The snow scene was beautiful, even with the extreme cold. The earth was covered in silver, a calming sight. Suddenly, he spotted a dark, shaking shape on the 18th floor across the way, followed by a scream. Zhang Yi focused and saw someone falling. In a blink, they vanished into a snowdrift 6 or 7 meters deep. The temperature outside was below -70 degrees. Falling into that snow was a death sentence. Looks like his building wasn't the only one falling apart. With supplies dwindling, people were fighting and killing for anything they could get their hands on. Anywhere there were people, things were turning into a living hell. As he ate his chips, Zhang Yi thought about the future. He needed to watch out for both the neighbors in his building and the survivors outside. In the apocalypse, anything could happen. Chapter 45. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the 25 building, Chen Zhenghao and his crew robbed several families, directly and indirectly killing 5 people. This caused the residents to band together. Their solution? They decided to huddle up and live as a group. They barricaded the door with heavy objects to keep Chen Zhenghao and the others out. They collected water by reaching out the window. Some residents even had balconies where they could collect rainwater. Fang Yuqing and her friends holed up at Wang Min's place on the 18th floor. Wang Min, Zhou Peng's cousin, was a successful businesswoman in the cosmetics industry. She owned a 3-bedroom apartment, the same layout as Zhang Yi's, the other. People staying there were her colleagues and close friends. Since it was the end of the world, people only trusted those they knew. Fang Yuqing and Lin Caning were there because Zhou Peng vouched for them. Their voting ticket was the inside scoop on Zhang Yi's situation. The group sat in the living room, bundled up in thick down jackets and scarves, trying to stay warm. Zhang Yi's refusal to let them join him had put everyone in a foul mood. Wang Min looked at Fang Yuqing and Lin Caning. I only agreed to let you stay here because of my cousin. You promised you'd convince Zhang Yi to let us move in with him. Now that he's refusing, what are you going to do about it? Zhou Peng was head over heels for Fang Yuqing, but Wang Min was nobody's fool. She saw through them. If it weren't for the Zhang Yi angle, she wouldn't have let them in. Fang Yuqing said quickly, Sister Wang, listen, Zhang Yi's house is stocked with supplies, and he's even got a fireplace. If we could just get inside, life would be so much easier. After being repeatedly rejected by Zhang Yi, Fang Yuqing and Lin Caning lost all sympathy for him. They spilled all the details about Zhang Yi's setup. That included the photos and videos Zhang Yi had sent them. Lin Caning added, you've seen the videos. You know how comfortable Zhang Yi's living. Let's just focus on getting into Zhang Yi's place. Not only can we keep Chen Zhenghao out, but we can live in comfort. Wang Min and the others pulled out their phones and rewatched the video Fang Yuqing had sent. The shots of Zhang Yi's house were undeniably appealing, making their eyes gleam. Wang Min frowned. But he's made it clear he doesn't want us there. Sun Jichao, wearing glasses, pushed them up and said in a low voice, he's too selfish. He doesn't care about anyone else's lives. We don't need to be nice to someone like that. There's only one person living there. Why don't we try a special approach? That everyone looked at Sun Jichao. They understood what he meant. Break into Zhang Yi's place and force him to give it up. His friend, Lu Tao, loudly agreed, I think it's a great idea. That selfish jerk only thinks about himself. He doesn't deserve such a nice place. Wang Min frowned slightly. But according to Zhou Peng, their security door is really strong. We're not exactly experts at breaking and entering. Zhou Peng added, yeah, and Zhang Yi is a real jerk. Last time we went to knock, he poured pee on us from above. Fang Yuqing and Lin Caning almost threw up at the memory. Their hair and skin still carried the smell from Zhang Yi, only the cold weather and their stuffy noses kept them from being overwhelmed. Sun Jichao smirked. This is easy. We just wrap ourselves up tight, wear masks, and use umbrellas. We'll be protected from his tricks. As for breaking the door. He glanced at Lu Tao. Lu Tao coughed and said, I used to work for a locksmith. I know my way around locks. I can pick anything on the market. Fang Yuqing and the others were so excited they almost jumped for joy. Perfect. Once we get past that door, so many of us rushing in, there's no way Zhang Yi can stop us. Fang Yuqing spat out the words. She had practically begged Zhang Yi, and he had humiliated her. She hated him for it. After we're inside, I'm going to shove his head in the toilet. Zhou Peng, the eager-to-please sidekick, chimed in, I'll be the one to flush. Fang Yuqing was disgusted by Zhou Peng's crudeness, but she still needed him. She forced a smile. Okay, then make sure you eat plenty of beans and onions. They all grinned. They were confident that they could overpower Zhang Yi. they grabbed umbrellas, wrapped themselves up, and headed towards Zhang Yi's apartment with some makeshift burglary tools. Zhang Yi had an alarm system that alerted him to any activity on his floor. He knew immediately when the group approached. He saw them on his security monitor, but since they were bundled up, he assumed it was Chen Zhenghao and his gang. Perfect timing. I didn't finish you off last time, but I'll teach you a lesson this time. Zhang Yi smirked, but he didn't want Chen Zhenghao dead just yet. If Chen Zhenghao died, who would keep the neighbors in line? It wouldn't be any fun without him. The group was well prepared. They put up their umbrellas as they neared Zhang Yi's door. Now, even if Zhang Yi sprayed them with water or used stink bombs, he couldn't drive them off quickly. All thanks to the intel provided by Fang Yuqing, she naively believed that no matter how many defenses Zhang Yi had, he would eventually run out of supplies. Spraying water and releasing stink bombs were Zhang Yi's last resort. Chapter 46 High Voltage Electricity. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The crowd had gathered outside Zhang Yi's apartment, umbrellas in hand, but Zhanlong's security had rigged the whole floor with pinhole cameras. Every angle was covered, ready to capture whoever showed up. As they reached the door, Zhang Yi watched one of them pull out a set of shiny lock picks. He slid one into the deadbolt. Picking the lock, Zhang Yi just raised an eyebrow, unconcerned. If his security door was that easy to crack, Zhanlong's experts could eat dirt. It wasn't just world-class, comparable to a bank vault door, it had 5 layers of defense. Only a top-tier lockpicker would even have a chance at the outermost lock, not to mention the physical levers inside. Usually, the more complex something is, the easier it is to find a weakness, but sometimes simplicity is king. Like Zhang Yi's door, knowing he wasn't planning on leaving, he jammed a solid steel rod, nearly 4 inches thick, straight through the mechanism. Only a car ramming it repeatedly could possibly break it, and, anticipating a forced entry, he'd added a little extra something special to the door. Zhang Yi glanced at the monitor, grabbed his phone, opened the Safe House control app, and tapped a button. Instantly, a massive electrical current surged through the security door. Lu Tao, focused on the lock, screamed as the jolt ripped through him. The others recoiled in horror, faces pale. "Help me!" Lu Tao pleaded, his face contorted in pain. The current was like a vice, clamping down and refusing to let go. Fang Yuqing, Zhou Peng, and the rest were stunned. They hadn't anticipated this and didn't have any insulated tools. Soon, acrid smoke billowed from Lu Tao's body, and the unmistakable smell of burning flesh filled the air. Then, he collapsed, clothes charred, skin on his arms and face blackened. He was gone. Awe! Fang Yuqing, Lin Caning, and the others screamed. Witnessing death up close was a brutal shock. Inside, the corners of Zhang Yi's mouth quirked upward. He felt a surge of satisfaction, but who could they blame but themselves? Coming after Zhang Yi was a death wish. Wang Min and the others were terrified. The lockpicking attempt had failed spectacularly. Sun Jichao, who had been friends with Lu Tao for years, watched his buddy die and his eyes burned with rage. "Zhang Yi, you bastard, come out here!" He grabbed a shovel and slammed it against Zhang Yi's door with a deafening bang that echoed through the building, but the massive iron door didn't even dent. The paint chipped, revealing the thick alloy beneath. Zhang Yi strolled to the door, hands in his pockets, and mocked, "Trying to break down my door? You're asking for it." He shook his head, sighing theatrically. Seriously, wasn't being alive good enough? Hearing Zhang Yi's taunting voice, anger and shock rippled through the group. Wang Min yelled, "Zhang Yi, we wanted to talk like adults. How could you just kill him? You're worse than Chen Zhenghao, you're a monster." Hearing the woman's voice, Zhang Yi realized it wasn't Chen Zhenghao's crew outside, but Lu Tao's death didn't bother him. The guy deserved it. Then it clicked. He knew who these people were. Fang Yuqing and Lin Caning had to be behind this. After all, they were the only ones who knew how comfortable Zhang Yi's place was. Zhang Yi's expression hardened, and he snapped, "Don't give me that innocent crap. You showed up at my place, trying to break in and steal my stuff. He got what was coming to him. Now you're gonna bark like dogs. Get outta here." Sun Jichao tried to stay calm. "Zhang Yi, we don't mean any harm, we just want to talk. But you killed our friend Lu Tao without warning. That's messed up. Don't you think you owe us an explanation? Zhang Yi burst out laughing. Just want to talk. Showing up uninvited to pry open my door, that's your idea of a conversation? Yeah right, after you get inside, you'd probably kill me, or kick me out to die. Then you'd be enjoying the safe house I busted my butt to prepare, right? That they exchanged uneasy glances. That was exactly what they had in mind. Sun Jichao frowned, his grief and rage over his friend's death fueling his hatred for Zhang Yi. But first, they needed to get through that door. He took a deep breath and yelled, Zhang Yi, we're giving you one last chance. Open the door and let us in, or you'll regret it. Fang Yuqing chimed in, Zhang Yi, we don't want to hurt you. We just want to live with you and face this disaster together. Don't be stupid, Lin Caning added, yeah, I'll even let you have the master bedroom and first dibs on the supplies. They were practically salivating. Paradise was just on the other side of that door, Zhang Yi scoffed. Are you out of your minds? This is my home, and you're handing it out like you own it. Try to take it if you can. I'd like to see you try. As he spoke, Zhang Yi was already loading his pistol and grabbing his crossbow. Hunting season was about to begin. Through the surveillance system, he could see and hear everything outside. Sun Jichao and the others huddled together, plotting their next move. Gu Jiaoyang, the most timid of the group, asked nervously, what do we do? Lu Tao's dead, and nobody else can pick the lock. Should we just leave? We don't want to attract Qin Zhenghao's attention. But Sun Jichao snapped, what are you scared of? We're on the 24th floor. Qin Zhenghao and his guys would be exhausted just getting up here. Besides, they'll hit the easy targets on the lower floors first. Wang Min said grimly, this Zhang Yi is a tough nut to crack. It's like he knew the world was ending and got ready for it. Chapter 47 Tetanus Arrow. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Okay, so some folks were finally starting to catch on to Zhang Yi's deal. In this frozen hellscape, everyone's starving and freezing. Even the people who had stockpiles back home were struggling, but this guy was living large, with enough food and clothes, and he even put in a freaking fireplace in Tianhai City, a city that barely gets snow. And that super secure door. It was like he was expecting all this. Zhou Peng curled his lip. Figures. That just makes Zhang Yi even more of a scumbag. He knew the storm was coming and only looked out for number one. Didn't even give his neighbors a heads up. Tui, that he spat on the ground because he had it out for Zhang Yi. Zhou Peng jumped at any chance to badmouth him. Wang Min and the others just frowned and ignored him. Let's be real, if they were in Zhang Yi's shoes, they'd put themselves and their families first. Screw everyone else. So, what's the plan? Prying the door is a no-go. Think we can just bash it in? Wang Min asked, looking at Zhou Peng, Sun Jichao, and Gu Jiaoyang. Those three were pretty much the muscle of the group. If they were going to force the door open, they'd be the ones doing it. They mumbled and talked it over for a bit. Through his security cameras, Zhang Yi watched them head back down the stairs, gun in his left hand, crossbow in his right. He just chilled and watched them go. Zhang Yi could have popped a couple of them right then and there, but he wasn't in a hurry. Life was getting boring, and he needed a little action. He wanted to see what they'd come up with to break down the door. Plus, it'd be good practice for dealing with tougher customers down the road. After a while, they came back. This time, they were lugging a huge, thick log. Looked like they'd ripped it off a bed frame. The women held umbrellas to keep Zhang Yi from dumping water on them. The three guys lined up the log and charged at the door. Bam. The sound was so loud, Zhang Yi could feel the walls shake, but he wasn't sweating it. Unless they had the Hulk on their team, there was no way they were busting through a 20-centimeter steel plate. Zhou Peng, Sun Jichao, and Gu Jiaoyang rammed that thing like their lives depended on it. Zhang Yi just kicked back on the sofa, watching them smash into the door and keeping an eye on his house through the security app. That app was custom-made by Zhanlong Security Company for its clients. He could check every corner of the house anytime he wanted. He wasn't taking any chances. He kept his weapon ready, and if anything looked fishy, he'd start shooting. but after Sun Jichao and the others had been pounding on the door for what seemed like forever, loud enough to wake the whole building, the thing hadn't budged, not even a dent, just a few white scuff marks. After 5 minutes, the group was completely demoralized. Seriously, how thick is this door? Even bank vault doors aren't this strong. Who even uses a door like this? Sun Jichao and the others were pretty much in despair, yelling in frustration. It was the sound of guys who were not only mad but completely screwed, and Zhang Yi, watching it all on the monitor, smiled. He was feeling a lot better about his safe house now. Alright, time for a little payback. Zhang Yi got up, slipped his pistol into his pocket, and opened a metal box. Inside were 20 crossbow bolts, but they were all covered in rust. Normally, alloy bolts like that don't rust easily, but these looked like they'd been sitting in a swamp for years. Actually, Zhang Yi had deliberately rusted them. Even the tiniest scratch would risk a tetanus infection. In this world where there was no medical care, it wouldn't kill you right away, but it'd make your wounds fester and rot if you got hit. You'd have to choose between cutting off a limb to survive or just waiting to die in agony. Zhang Yi had gotten the idea from Chen Zhenghao. Even though Chen Zhenghao was crippled, he'd managed to stay alive somehow. But next time, if he got tagged by a tetanus arrow, Zhang Yi was curious to see how he'd pull it off. A nasty grin spread across Zhang Yi's face as he climbed up to the shooting hole. Fang Yuqing and the others were holding umbrellas, so they couldn't see what was happening. Zhang Yi didn't care. He fired right under the umbrella. If they died, they died. But it'd be even better if they didn't. Thwack, that the tetanus arrow went straight through the umbrella, followed by a blood-curdling scream. Before they could react, Zhang Yi quickly reloaded without even aiming, since they were all bunched together anyway. Thwack, another scream. Zhang Yi reloaded fast. The group finally figured out what was going on and started screaming and running. Zhang Yi took his time, aiming carefully. He made sure to avoid any vital spots, targeting arms and thighs instead. Out of the 6 people left, 3 got hit, and 1 got hit twice. But the hand crossbow was slow to reload, and they made it out of Zhang Yi's line of sight before he could get off another shot. Zhang Yi shrugged. Whatever. They were dead men walking. They were going to die a slow, agonizing death. As for the others, Zhang Yi had plenty of time to play with them. Time was on his side, or maybe Zhang Yi was just playing it safe. Either way, he wasn't about to open the door to finish them off. You call it being cautious, I call it being smart. Even if there was only a 1 in a million chance of getting hurt, Zhang Yi wasn't taking that risk. Crossbow bolts are going to be a problem. Zhang Yi frowned, starting to think long-term. He'd bought 300 crossbows and 300 bows, but once he fired them, it wasn't like he could just go out and get them back. He still had plenty, but you can't just live in the moment. After thinking about it, Zhang Yi had an idea. He opened up his interdimensional space, rummaged around, and found what he needed. He had tons of marbles for bearings in the warehouse, and those could be fired from a hand crossbow. He also had those toy glass marbles. They weren't as deadly as steel bolts, but they could still pack a punch coming out of a crossbow. Even if he ran out of bolts, he had plenty of metal stuff he could take apart and modify. Zhang Yi felt better already. With all this, I could eat for the rest of my life. That he was feeling good, but other people were having a really bad time. Fang Yuqing and the 7 others had thought they could just overpower Zhang Yi, but in the end, they got nothing. One of them was dead, and 3 others were limping back with crossbow bolts in their flesh. They didn't even dare to stop and pick up Lu Tao's body. Chapter 48. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Fang Yuqing, Wang Min, Sun Jichao, and the others ran back like their tails were between their legs. Back inside, they slammed the door shut and stood there, drenched in sweat and gasping for air, especially the wounded. They collapsed onto the sofa, gritting their teeth in pain. Zhang Yi's arrows had found their mark on Sun Jichao, Zhou Peng, and Gu Jiaoyang. They'd been the ones leading the charge, the closest to Zhang Yi's front door. Fang Yuqing and Lin Caning, having seen Zhang Yi's tricks before, had deliberately hung back, dodging the arrows. Now, out of the original 7, 4 were either dead or nursing crossbow bolt wounds. Because it was so cold, they hadn't felt the pain much at first. But back inside, fighting the extreme cold, they had to grit their teeth and get their clothes off. The second they saw the wounds, their faces fell. A regular arrow? You pull it out, hit it with some alcohol, take some anti-inflammatories. No big deal, but these arrows were covered in rust. Without antibiotics, in this environment, they were just waiting to die a slow, agonizing death. No, no. This can't be happening. Sun Jichao's eyes went wide. He understood what this meant, and the fear of death washed over him. Smack, star, the sound rang out as Wang Min slapped Fang Yuqing hard. Those who were injured were all her family and friends, and it was Fang Yuqing who had talked them into robbing Zhang Yi's house in the first place. She was beyond furious. You bitch. This is all your fault. You said only his door was strong. What's with the arrows? Did you know about this and that's why you were so far back? What, you're so special? Wang Min wasn't small, towering over Fang Yuqing and Lin Caning. The slap sent Fang Yuqing reeling. She covered her face, tears welling up. I didn't know. The last 2 times we went by, he didn't use any crossbow. Zhou Peng, hit in the arm, struggled to his feet and stepped in front of Fang Yuqing, defending his girl from his cousin. Cousin, come on. Yuqing really didn't know, I swear. Seeing how dumb his cousin was, Wang Min was even more enraged. She pointed at Fang Yuqing and Lin Caning. Then how come they're okay? I saw you too, hiding in the back. Lin Caning bristled, muttering, you got hurt too. You have some nerve talking. Wang Min snapped, I got lucky and didn't get hit. You two are going to get us all killed. Get out. Sun Jichao reached out, stopping Wang Min, giving her a look. We're all hurt. Someone has to take care of us, he said quietly. He wasn't ready to die. He needed to get that arrow out and pray he didn't get infected. Wang Min's chest rose and fell, and she glared at Fang Yuqing and Lin Caning. Don't just stand there, help. Fang Yuqing and Lin Caning lowered their heads, resentment flashing in their eyes, but they went to help the wounded tend to their wounds. As they pulled back the fabric to expose the injuries, their faces turned pale. Zhang Yi's crossbow bolts were professional grade, meant for hunting wild boars and coyotes. When they hit, they sank deep. They didn't have any medical professionals here, let alone proper equipment. They didn't have a clue how to deal with this. One wrong move and they could bleed to death. Wang Min thought for a second and said, I need to get Dr. Zhou to help. That she was talking about Zhou Ke. When Lin Xiaohu's liver ruptured from that kick, she was the one who kept him alive. Wang Min stepped aside and called Zhou Ke. Soon, Zhou Ke arrived. Wang Min rushed up and grabbed Zhou Ke's hand, her voice full of emotion. Dr. Zhou, we're putting our lives in your hands. Zhou Ke was wearing a black knee-length down coat, bundled up, but it couldn't hide her long, lean figure. She had an iron medicine chest slung over her shoulder. Entering the room, she glanced at everyone's injuries and frowned. Another arrow wound. Wang Min blinked, confused. Another? Someone else got shot by an arrow? A strange look crossed Zhou Ke's face. No, it's a patient from the hospital, she replied. Wang Min thought something was off, but she didn't have time to think about it. Dr. Zhou, please, take a look at them. Zhou Ke got right to it, checking the injuries. By now, their faces were ashen. Since they couldn't get the arrows out, they couldn't stop the bleeding. In this kind of cold, 60, 70 below, that was a death sentence in itself. Zhou Ke took a look, then frowned. These wounds are too deep. Without proper equipment, I can't guarantee anything with surgery. Wang Min said quickly, Dr. Zhou, it's come to this. You have to try. We trust you. Zhou Ke shook her head. The arrows are covered in rust. They'll cause an infection. All I can do is take out the arrows, but without antibiotics, they'll get infected. I'm afraid. She didn't finish the sentence, but everyone knew what she meant. In these conditions, an infection was a guaranteed death. Tears streamed down Wang Min's face. Sun Jichao and the others were her closest friends, and Zhou Peng was her cousin. In this new world, you can't be too safe. Losing so many close people in one day would break her heart. Zhang Yi is such a monster. He must have done this on purpose. How could he be so evil? We were just going to take his house, we weren't going to kill him. Wang Min sobbed, cursing Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi. Hearing the name, Zhou Ke remembered him. She'd met Zhang Yi a few times and remembered him as a good-looking, cheerful guy, but Zhou Ke was so reserved that they never really talked. Either way, without medicine, just pulling out the arrows will be life-threatening. I hope you understand that. Zhou Ke spoke calmly, she didn't hold back anymore. In this new world, everyone should be ready to die at any time. Suddenly, Fang Yuqing's eyes lit up, she said excitedly, medicine. I remember Zhang Yi had medicine in his house. Chapter 49. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When Wang Min and Sun Jichao heard Zhang Yi had medicine, they perked up immediately. A drowning man clutches at straws. Really? Sun Jichao asked, wincing. He really has medicine. Wang Min fixed Fang Yuqing with a stare. Don't lie to us. Because of you, we're all messed up. The mention of Zhang Yi's name clearly spooked her. Fang Yuqing explained, about a month ago, Zhang Yi started acting differently. He began hoarding stuff like crazy. Delivery vans were at his place practically every day. Once, I saw a pharmaceutical company truck in the neighborhood, and Zhang Yi went to meet it. They unloaded 2 big boxes into his house. Has to be medicine in there. Zhou Ke chimed in, antibiotics aren't exactly rare. If he knew this was coming and stocked up, he's probably got a ton of antibiotics and anti-inflammatories. As a doctor, Zhou Ke was sure of it. Hope flickered in Sun Jichao's eyes, a desperate light. Then we need to go to Zhang Yi and beg him to save us. He's the reason I'm hurt, he owes us. Wang Min hesitated, a troubled look on his face. But after what happened, he hates our guts. Why would he give us anything? Gu Jiaoyang, writhing on the sofa, couldn't take the pain anymore. I'm dying here. Figure something out. Go beg Zhang Yi, he has to save us. Fang Yuqing added, we didn't even hurt him. We were going to leave him some supplies after we broke in. He's being a jerk. We're in the right, so what are we afraid of? Zhou Ke listened to them, finally understanding what had happened. She just rolled her eyes silently, it had nothing to do with her. Instead, she opened the medicine box, pulled out some gauze, and started trying to stop the bleeding. The medicine cabinet was almost bare, she only kept a small supply for emergencies, and she'd already treated a bunch of neighbors, so she was running low. If Wang Min and the others couldn't get medicine, all she could do was pull out the arrow and bandage them up. At least, make their deaths a little less agonizing. These people were something else, they still thought they were in the right, they were just trying to survive. What's wrong with that? It's Zhang Yi's fault for being selfish, hoarding everything for himself. After a moment, Wang Min pointed at Fang Yuqing. You're doing this. Zhang Yi used to be sweet on you. You're the best person to ask. Sun Jichao and Gu Jiaoyang mumbled in agreement. After all, Fang Yuqing was the one who'd gotten them into this mess. If she hadn't told them about Zhang Yi's place, and sworn it would be easy to break in, they wouldn't have been so stupid. Zhou Peng wasn't thrilled with the idea of Fang Yuqing begging Zhang Yi, but the pain in his arm and the threat of death made him side with Wang Min. He told Fang Yuqing, Yuqing, we're a team, right? This is rough, but we gotta do it. We need to survive, and we need you to protect us. Fang Yuqing's face twisted in distaste. She really didn't want to, she was only in this group because of her relationship with Zhou Peng. Otherwise, a weak woman like her wouldn't be much use against thugs like Chen Zhenghao. No other group would take her, and if they did, she'd probably just be used as a toy. Women, especially ones with nothing to offer but flirting and a pretty face, were a dime a dozen in the apocalypse. Zhou Ke picked up a scalpel. Conditions were poor. Disinfection was out of the question. Even an alcohol burner would clump at this temperature. Without drugs, disinfection was a waste of time anyway. She told Sun Jichao to bite down on a towel, then started digging for the arrow. The room filled with screams worthy of the slaughterhouse. Sun Jichao was about to chew through the towel. Terrified, everyone urged Fang Yuqing to call Zhang Yi for medicine. Fang Yuqing swallowed her pride and dialed Zhang Yi's WeChat. Beep, beep, beep. Zhang Yi was at home, about to eat. It was weird, but even though he'd just killed someone, he felt completely calm. Not afraid, but energized by revenge. It was a good sign. To survive the end of the world, you had to be this way. He'd been worried he'd throw up, or lose sleep. He'd already been through more than most people. He wouldn't crack now. His phone rang. Zhang Yi picked it up curiously and saw it was Fang Yuqing. His eyes lit up, a smile playing on his lips. Oh. After I kicked your butt, you're calling to yell at me? Zhang Yi answered without hesitation. The worse they were, the better he felt. He put it on speaker and started fixing lunch in the kitchen. Hey, what's up? Zhang Yi's voice was smooth, like he hadn't just killed Lu Tao and shot Sun Jichao and the others. The more he acted like that, the creepier it felt to Fang Yuqing and the others. Under their watchful eyes, Fang Yuqing started talking in a sickeningly sweet voice. She begged, Zhang Yi, Lu Tao is dead, and Zhou Peng and the others are about to die because of you. Wah! She sobbed dramatically, trying to get Zhang Yi to feel sorry for her, but Zhang Yi just said, oh well. If they die, they die. Too bad, so sad. He moved closer to the microphone with a knife in his hand, his voice quiet. You don't actually think you're going to survive this snowstorm, do you? His voice seemed to come from the depths of hell, and Wang Min and the others felt a shiver run down their spines. Zhang Yi had hit on their deepest fear. The city was shut down by snow, and their building was an island. Even if they lived, their supplies wouldn't last. Chen Zhenghao wouldn't be the only one they should be afraid of. They could freeze or starve to death. Fang Yuqing wept. Zhang Yi, I was wrong. I should have agreed to go out with you. But I want to change. Can you forgive me? Chapter 50 Teasing the White Lotus. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhang Yi asked flatly, so, what's your angle here? Standing beside Fang Yuqing, Wang Min and the others nudged her, urging her to get to the point. Fang Yuqing sniffled and said in a tearful voice, Zhang Yi, you shot Zhou Peng and the others, and now they're seriously wounded. We're completely out of medicine, and they're gonna die of infection. You stocked up on tons of meds before. Can you please lend us some? I promise we'll never bother you again. Zhang Yi paused his cooking, taken aback by Fang Yuqing's nerve. Fang Yuqing, wanna guess why I shot them with rusty arrows? I want them to die slowly and painfully from infection. That's the whole damn point. And now you're coming to me to borrow medicine? Are you out of your mind? Zhang Yi chuckled in disbelief, like Fang Yuqing and her crew didn't get that already. But now, without the balls to approach Zhang Yi, they could only sit by and watch their buddies die, and Zhou Peng and his two goons were their only hope for survival. Fang Yuqing sobbed, Zhang Yi, we messed up. Please, just this once, cut them some slack. We promise we'll stay out of your hair forever. The world's tough enough as it is. We gotta help each other out, right? Don't be such a stone-cold killer, okay? You really gonna feel good about yourself when they die? Before Fang Yuqing could finish, Zhang Yi cut her off. Yep, couldn't be happier. Fang Yuqing choked, speechless. Wang Min stepped forward, desperate. Zhang Yi, it's me, Wang Min. Remember when I took you out for dinner? Zhang Yi immediately rolled his eyes. Back then, Wang Min had hit him up to score some warehouse goods at a steal. Zhang Yi had eaten the dinner, sure, but he'd helped her make a killing later. You think bringing that up is gonna sway me? Zhang Yi asked with a sneer. Wang Min gulped, and Zhou Peng's agonizing screams echoed from the living room. Zhang Yi perked up at the sound, loving every minute of their misery. Wang Min continued, Zhang Yi, times are crazy right now, and we got a psycho like Chen Zhenghao running around. You gotta leave yourself some wiggle room, you never know when we might come in handy. If you spot us some medicine this time, Wang Min, swear I'll remember your kindness and pay it back tenfold. Zhang Yi scoffed, kindness? You think I just fell off the turnip truck? Those clowns are all bleeding out because of me. You guys croak here, and your bodies are gonna be rotting right outside my door. No matter what I do, this feud ain't ever gonna end. Help you out. So you can get revenge on me later? Give me a break. Wang Min tried to interject, we're not like that. Enough, already. It's boring me. Zhang Yi scared. Whether you're like that or not isn't the point. Point is, I don't believe a word you're saying, so I'm not lifting a finger to help. Why would he save someone who wanted to screw him over? He wasn't running some kind of charity. No matter how much they groveled, Zhang Yi wasn't budging. Seeing Zhang Yi's resistance, the others started to panic. Wang Min's eyes narrowed. Zhang Yi, don't push us. If you force us to die, who knows what we'll do. Faced with Wang Min's threat, Zhang Yi just smirked. What can you do that you haven't already tried? If you had the stones, you'd have busted into my place, killed me, and swiped everything I own. Relax, I'm not shaking in my boots. That trick ain't gonna work on me. Fang Yuqing snatched the phone, crying as she pleaded with Zhang Yi, does it really have to be like this? We used to be so tight. Can't we just let bygones be bygones and start over? Deep down, I've always had a thing for you. Next door, Zhou Peng was gnawing on a towel while desperately trying to bandage himself. Hearing this, his eyes practically bugged out, and his muffled groans intensified. Zhang Yi had to hand it to this chick. Her ability to turn on the waterworks was top tier, but it wasn't surprising. In the current situation, Zhang Yi was rolling in dough. A gold digger's gotta do what a gold digger's gotta do. Suddenly, Zhang Yi had a mischievous thought. He knew the others were listening, and Zhou Peng could definitely hear their conversation, so Zhang Yi intentionally drawled, Hey, Yuqing, truth is, I still carry a torch for you too. It's just that you cut me so deep, I can't seem to let it go. Those words were like striking a match, igniting a flicker of hope in Fang Yuqing's heart. Ignoring the seething glares from the others, she squealed excitedly, Oh, Zhang Yi, I knew you cared about me. You're such a dummy, you're the one I've always wanted. Everything I did before was just a test, you goof. Why couldn't you see that? Wang Min and the others were stunned, and Zhou Peng was so livid he almost passed out, but everyone figured if Fang Yuqing could reel in Zhang Yi, they might get a shot at his house and supplies, so they kept their mouths shut. Zhang Yi, let me come live with you. From now on, I'll be your girl, whatever you want, I'll do it, okay? Zhang Yi smiled slyly. Alright. Fang Yuqing jumped up and down, giddy. Lin Caning piped up, take me with you too. Fang Yuqing shot her a venomous glare, already plotting her downfall. Zhang Yi's cold voice came back over the phone. Hold on, Yuqing, you're the only one I have feelings for. So, I can only let you come alone. As for those sketchy people you hang with, you gotta cut ties. Times are tough enough as it is, we can't afford to have a bunch of leeches dragging us down. Right? The mood shifted drastically. Their hopes of hitching a ride on Fang Yuqing's coattails were just shot to hell. Why the hell was he making her ice them out? Fang Yuqing was riding such a high that she couldn't give a damn about her pals. She nodded furiously. Okay, whatever you say, baby. I'm all yours. Then come on over now. Don't worry about anyone else. Yeah, I'm on my way. Wait for me. Fang Yuqing's face was flushed with excitement. The thought of ditching her miserable life was the only thing on her mind. She bolted towards the door. Wang Min and the others were reaching critical levels of anger. Seeing that Fang Yuqing was actually gonna ditch them and run to Zhang Yi, Lin Caning grabbed her arm. Fang Yuqing whirled around, her face contorted. Get your hands off me. Don't you dare stop me from going to Zhang Yi's. I'm done with this life. Before she could finish, Wang Min's hand cracked across her face. You shameless bitch. You're the reason we're in this mess, and now you think you can just bail. No way in hell.